Hey guys, welcome to Gamma CG. Today I just wanted to talk about digi doubles. I've seen a lot of different digi doubles, from high-end digi doubles in Hollywood to kind of the avatars that people are making today, but I just wanted to show you how you can make your own digi double by using a little bit of CG magic. Most of the things that you'll need are a camera, a DSLR or your phone camera works just fine. I'm going to show you a scanning app that you can use, and you're going to need a little bit of a background with some modeling software. I'm going to use Maya for a lot of this, but you can also use ZBrush, a combination of TopoGun, and something like Blender would be great to use. The first thing that you're going to need is a reference. And normally what we would do is take front, side, and top image planes in our modeling software and use that as reference to create the model. But in this case, we're going to use 3D scanning technology to make the process much simpler. Some people will have an actual 3D scanner. I've seen ones like RevelPoint scanners or an Einstar scanner that can be used at home and give you a much better result. But in this case, I'm just going to use a simple phone scanner. Like I said, you can also use your camera and take multiple pictures and put them into something like Meshroom. There is a bit of a learning curve to this, so you might just need to take some pictures, see how it looks, and then readjust. For me, I found taking broader scans of the whole head and then going back and taking more scans of just smaller areas of the head, like the nose, the ears, the lips, especially the eyes, to get in more detail. And then once I have multiple scans, I can try to get all that detail into one mesh, and that's the tricky part. So now what we want to do is take our scans, bring them into the scene, and then try to orient them as close to center as much as possible. I do highly recommend bringing in the texture. It makes it so much easier to see what's going on and where certain bumps are not supposed to be there. So when you're trying to sculpt things in, you know what you're seeing. Even though I look like Two-Face, this is going to be a great way for me to get the main shape of the head. Here I'm using Maya's Quadra tool just to get something that's better than a bunch of broken triangles. So your topology doesn't even have to be that good. Now we want to do the same thing for all the more detailed areas separately so we can paint them in later. You just repeat the process of up-resing the mesh and bringing in more detail. Now we have detailed meshes for specific areas of the head, but we want to get it onto the mesh that we're actually going to use. For this, you're going to need to find a head mesh, preferably a full body mesh that already has good topology. If you can already model, you can model this. I'm just going to use something that I have sitting around from a tutorial. Make sure the head is positioned as close to the scan as possible. Once you have your main mesh, you want to duplicate it to keep one aside, and you can hide it for now. Again, I'm going to use Maya's Quadra for this. You can make your detailed mesh live, and your main mesh is what you're using Quadra for. It might get a bit messy with verts flying everywhere, but that's okay. Just use small areas at a time, and we're going to blend shape these in later, so you'll be able to paint out the weights that are a little bit crazy. We're going to do this process for each section, and with each one, we're going to duplicate the head again. So make sure you have one head for each of the separate detailed meshes that we've painted into the main mesh. Now that we have separate main meshes with the details in them, we can blend shape them all into the main head mesh. Paint the weight so that the fall off looks right and it's not turning into exploding vertices. After you get in all the sections, you should get something like this. Another great way to do this that might even give you a better result is using a software called Wrap 3D. Just set up the graph like this, then load your topology mesh and your scan. Make sure you select the areas that you don't want to be part of the wrap. Then select your point pairs and make sure they're in the right position. Now you have a perfectly good mesh in the shape of your face. Now, unless I want my digi double to look bald and shiny, I'm going to have to add some textures, hair, and maybe a body so we can rig it later on. So stay tuned for part 2. Let me know if you'd like me to make videos on the wrap process or my Quadra tool or even modeling topology. That's it for now. Until next time.